For most animals, storing food for later is for jive squares. It's all about getting as much food as you can stomach right now and letting tomorrow take care of itself. But for the more prudent, food storage is a life-saving hassle. The honeypot ant may not be able to create elaborate hives like the famous honeybee, but it has an interesting way of using its workers to keep snacks for the leaner times. But using your friends as living pantries is sometimes the best way to survive here in life, death, and taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, search Cassie Michelle on YouTube.
To hear more of Cassie's music, listen to Cassie.
Duh.
And thank you to Brian for the creation of this week's episode artwork. To see that artwork and all of our other episodes, you can follow us on Facebook or email us at ldtaxonomy. Or that doesn't make any sense. Visit us at ldtaxonomy.com.
And today we're talking about an insect that's part ant and part dump truck. But more on that later.
Yum. Part Pooh's favorite thing. Honey. But what are we talking about?
We are talking about the honeypot ant.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it's I have a specific genus and species here, but really honeypot ants are basically the entire subfamily that we'll mention. So there's lots of different kinds of honeypot ants, but they all share a unique trait. But honeypot ants is actually a pretty good name, but we'll come up with some extras just in case one isn't enough. So we're also going to call it, this is dumb, Candy Girl. Sugar, honey. That was a last minute one. I needed to come up with something with honey. We'll also call it the Formican Fridge.
Nice.
I'm
Why
proud of that
Formican?
Because it's the family is Formicae.
Oh yeah, Formica is like also something you put on. It's like a coating.
It's like a material that you make.
Yeah.
But no, it refers to ants. Also refers to ants. And then the last one is the smallest smackerel.
It is a good smackerel.
And a small one at that.
Would you like to hear what science has to say about this?
Yeah. This time, yes.
Okay, well, that's in the kingdom you know, love, and are in. The kingdom Animalia. It's the kingdom you are not in. Or the phylum you're not in, Arthropoda. One of several that you're not in. Unless I'm talking to an ant right now. The class is Insecta. It's an insect. The order is Hymenoptera.
Yeah, we've been here. When we did the Dracula ant.
And the leafcutter ant.
Yeah.
Another place we've been to with those two animals is the family Formicae.
Mm-hmm.
The subfamily is Dolichoderinae.
Dolichoderinae.
Dolichoderinae. Dolichoneridae.
Dolly Parton.
And the tribe is, if you're into tribes, if you like the tribes, it's in the tribe Leptomyrmecini?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It could be a soft C.
Oh, it's probably Myrcini. We're close.
The genus is Leptomyrmex.
Leptomyrmex. That one. That
Leptomyrmex. And then the species is Leptomyrmex unicolor or unicolor.
Yeah, unicolor.
I just called it unicolor in my notes because it doesn't have, this particular species doesn't have its own common name.
Yeah, so it's just called Leptomyrmex, whatever, unicolor. It must be a nightmare for pharmacologist. That sounds like a thing.
Form of collegists.
That's it. It's the worst. Hey, I was right. Oh, no, wait. It's myrmecology. Myrmecology is the study of ants. I typed in pharmacology, and I automatically changed it to myrmecology. I think they might be synonymous or just a common misconception. But yes, I'm sure it's a nightmare for myrmecologists. They call it like L unicolor, like how they do the genus is just the abbreviated first letter and then the species name. But since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show. Cue the music. Critter groups. We actually get to do it this time. We actually get to play this game.
Ooh.
Although we've done ants before, I think the first ant we did not have critter groups, and then the second one we might have, but I'm not sure how. I don't think we did. There's a lot of different names for a group of ants, and so I don't think we did this one. So this is the part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the collective noun for this animal? What is the name of a group for this animal? Or what is the term of venery for this animal? It's all means the same thing. So if you saw a bunch of ants, which if you live in Florida like we do, this is not uncommon. And ants are pretty much everywhere, except for like Antarctica. So basically,
Antarctica is anti-ant.
Yeah, it's definitely anti-ant Antarctica. There are no ants, no uncles, and no ants. So if you saw a bunch of ants, would you say that's A, a hill of ants, B, a swarm of ants, C, a hive of ants, or D, a river of ants?
I mean anthill.
Oh, was that your final answer?
No.
Oh.
I'm going to go with hive. Final answer.
Incorrect. The answer was swarm.
Okay.
I was very surprised not to find hive on there, so it was a natural inclusion into my list. But I won't name the other ones just in case we do another ant someday.
I don't usually think of ant hills as hives. I think of nests.
Yeah.
It's an ant's nest. Or an ant hill.
Yeah, but not all ants form hills.
Hashtag not all ants.
What?
Nothing? Would you like a description?
Yeah. Describe this ant to me.
Leptomyrmex ants are often called spider ants because they have proportionally long legs for their body size. Our unicolor friends have long bodies and broad heads. The ants are black with a pale brown to yellow coloration at the tips of their mandibles, legs, and antennae. They're covered in a chitinous hair that's so fine that it's hard to see with the naked eye, but up close you can see that it's covered in this like dense chitin fur, and it even covers their eyes.
Yeah,
so,
you'll notice it.
Eyeball.
You'll definitely notice it if you've ever watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
That was an eye-opening experience. As a child.
That's a great movie. And also, I've never felt as bad for an ant as I did in that movie. Even Bug's Life didn't make me feel as bad for an ant.
Do you know that giving someone a hairy eyeball is like looking at them with disdain or skepticism?
What?
That's a phrase that means you don't believe someone,
in
or
like
you
Dutch?
don't like someone.
Who says this?
No, he was giving me the hairy eyeball. It's like stink eye.
Yeah, I've heard that one. The evil eye is also another one.
Yeah.
Never the hairy eyeball, though.
Anyway, obviously the hairy eyeball brings us to the listener's favorite part of the show, the beloved Measure Up segment. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show when that's introduced by you, When you send an audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering, the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week.
It's my long, exasperated sigh directly into the microphone.
So that means as a part of my quiz show for Carlos, I get to do another quiz show. We get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is.
Please, it's in my contract, but please let my family go.
Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show. I think the first sound was not anything.
Wait, what? It wasn't?
This sound right here is what you're listening to.
Oh, I'm listening to like a chirping sound.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was listening to the
stridulation sound.
Like the brrrr.
Yeah, I thought that might be part of it at first, but I think maybe it's the camera, like the guy's tripod or something that he's like struggling with, or I don't know. I don't see the animal moving at all when that sound is happening. So, is that A, an assassin bug, B, a bush cricket, C, a cicada, or D, a Dinopanera, which is a giant Amazon ant?
Ooh, it'd be interesting if it was an ant.
I went with Dinopanera because that is what it is called, and it made it easier to do A, B, C, D.
Sounds like a sandwich shop for kids who love paleontology.
Assassin bug, bush cricket, cicada, Dinopanera.
I don't think it's a cicada. I imagine that if an assassin bug made that sound, it wouldn't be very successful in its assassinations, because they would all see it coming. There, logic defeated that the first option. So it's between bush cricket and Dinopanera. I'm gonna go with the ant one, Dinopanera ant, just because
the giant Amazonian ant.
It would be crazy if an ant made that kind of sound.
Final answer?
Yep.
The correct answer was bush cricket.
Oh, yeah.
Ants do stridulate, but this particular sound was not that. This definitely sounded crickety. If you listen to an ant stridulation, it's more high pitch. But I imagine a giant ant might be lower pitch.
I just wasn't hearing like the classic like regular rhythm of a cricket's stridulation. Like if you have a cicada rubs its legs together like smoothly, so it just makes this one long sound where cricket's like brr, brr, brr.
Yeah, it's a pretty big cricket, so it makes probably a different sound.
Oh yeah, bush cricket. There you go. You can type in ant sounds and just get Sylvester Stallone from the movie Ants.
Oh, yeah, the one that everyone thinks about when they think about animated ant movies.
Yeah, definitely immediately goes. Although I naturally go to that one because as a kid that traumatized me because at one point I think one of the ants is beheaded. Yeah.
Isn't it Sylvester Stallone's?
I think it might be Sylvester Stallone's character. And that traumatized me because just like the movie Anastasia, which I think I saw the same year, I've realized I was not okay with watching characters lose their heads.
Even when it's fine and they're still talking?
Yeah, nope. I mean, I'm fine now, but I wasn't fine when I was like 5 or 6 or whatever.
I guess I just had a general acceptance of this is for kids, this is a cartoon, so this mustn't be okay.
I don't know, Anastasia was a little creepy and gross. But
there was a part that we just rewatched Anastasia actually, and there's a part where his own head is in his rib cage.
Yeah, that was what got to me.
It looks disgusting, but as a kid, I was like, "This is fine. This is silly. He's coming apart."
He's a zombie. Zombies were not okay with me back then.
He's animated. It's funny.
Now they're all the rage. Now I'm fine with them.
Okay, let's talk body length. So, just to let you know, I get a lot of dimensions from Ant Wiki. Apparently, in the ant community, ants are measured in bonkers crazy ways.
I thought they were measured in bonkers. This ant is 17 bonkers long.
They are. They might as well be, because they're measured in one thousandths. They're measured in thousandths of a millimeter.
So nanometer. Right?
Yeah, but that's not what it said on the Ant Wiki. It doesn't say nanometer
Or a micrometer.
It has just numbers with no unit indicated, and I had to find another page that explained the measurements. So also, they don't measure from tip of the mandible to they don't measure the body length or like leg span or anything normal like that. Everything is measured in the specific length of the mandible, the width of the head, the like. In fact, the head is the most important part when you're talking about the size of an ant, according to Ant Wiki.
Just whatever you can see on an electron
the
microscope.
width of the eyes is something important to them. But anyway, they posted a picture with a line that was indicated with 2 millimeters, and then a picture of the ant. So that's how I found the body length of an ant, of this particular ant.
Okay.
Thanks, Ant Wiki. You're silly beyond all reason, and I'm sure your way of doing it is very important in the ant studying community.
Ant Wiki and Uncle Google.
And I know nothing of what I speak, but here we go.
You know nothing of this matter.
That's pretty good. All right, they're 6 millimeters. Their body length is about 6 millimeters. So how many ant lengths go into the length of the world's smallest house?
Like for an ant?
For a human.
Very tiny ant house.
It would be a huge ant house. But it would be well, unless you consider that sometimes ant houses are our houses.
Yeah.
But here's a hint. The house is on wheels, and it's fully portable. It has a tiny sink and a hole in the floor for a toilet that's covered by a frisbee. You can apparently rent it, and there have been some YouTubers that did just that for a novel experience, and they said that at times they felt real fear. It mostly seems to be a stunt to attract the attention to minimal waste and green living. But a house it is, and tiny it is.
I don't know what constitutes a house. It's just a sink and a toilet?
The toilet, there's no toilet. It's a hole.
Or the hole, I guess.
I guess what constitutes a house is a living space.
No kitchen.
For a human being.
Sure, then I guess a tent counts. Sure. I mean, I guess I thought a house needed a kitchen, a place to store food, a place to sleep, and a place to relieve oneself. I think.
Like I said, you can go to the website, which is smallesthouseinatheworld.com. And there's a little documentary that seems like this whole thing is a big joke.
So, okay, what's the?
But it does exist.
What's the metric?
I do have dimensions for it. 6 millimeters.
No, what's the? Is it the height of the house?
The length of the house.
Okay.
It's a rectangle, so the length of the rectangle.
Just go to someone and say, "How long is your house?" It's just a weird thing to say. It's a very, very long house.
when you're doing real estate, like how long is the house?
This is the longest house on the block, actually.
They'll be like, oh, it's 500 square feet. How long is this apartment? It's 1,000 square feet. And it's like, oh, but no, how long is the apartment?
that is the funniest dimension that you could measure for a house.
What about girth?
What's the girth of the house? I don't know. For some reason, there's something about like no one.
I guess girth is like it's an inherently funny word, so it sounds like you're trying too hard to be funny when you ask about the girth.
Yeah.
But length is such a non sequitur. It subverts the expectation, which is what true comedy is all about.
And I think there are actual houses called longhouses.
True. That's the name of like the Iroquois, like
Oh, yes,
main
yes.
houses,
It's a
meeting houses.
I should know that because I used to sell kettle corn across from the Iroquois Nation exhibit in the Erie County Fair. Not that makes me an expert in the Iroquois.
You were near an Iroquois exhibit, so you should know.
I spent hours listening to them sing and dance.
You spent hours around 500 feet from anything you could learn from.
Yes. So, yeah, come to me with all your Iroquois questions, ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. The answer to how many of these ants go into the length of the world's smallest house, 2 meters.
2 meters. The guy who made the house, I guess, or lived in the house. You can rent the house, so he doesn't live in it. Said like that one of the benefits is wherever you want to go, you're already there. Because you can just wheel the house to wherever you want to be near.
That still doesn't make any sense. You're not necessarily already there.
He's like, my commute is like 10 steps because he showed up. His house is wheeled to the sidewalk right out in front of his business.
I'd rather live in the business. Oh, it depends. I'm not. You're gonna have to describe to me this house because I'm imagining a porta potty on wheels right now. Like it can't be any bigger than a tent, right? All right. So you said this is 6 millimeters.
Mm-hmm. Millimeters.
All right. I guess 333 ants. That does not seem like enough, but. Sure.
333 ants?
Yep.
Final ants, sir?
Yeah.
Final ant, sir?
This is my last ant, good sir.
The correct answer is 370.8.
Whoa! Whoa, that's a win for me. I'll take it.
The house is 7.3 feet.
Oh, I was on point.
By 3.6 feet. The ceiling is 3 feet. And it's 25 square feet.
All right, I'm looking at this thing.
It's essentially a porta potty on its side with less functionality as a bathroom.
It's this green thing?
Yeah, it's green.
This is stupid. This is a dumb thing I'm looking at.
It is stupid. If you watch the little video they made, everyone's like, it's obviously stupid.
That doesn't count as a house.
It looks like a house. If it was way
No,
bigger.
it looks like the Magic School Bus.
It's I like its little portholes.
Yeah, it looks like we all live in the Green Submarine. Is that an ironing board? This person has the world's smallest house. It's got a sink and an ironing board, and that's it.
His shower is like this thing that conforms to the shape of his body and just covers. It's like a plastic covering, and it just like sprays him.
This is just nope. I would not pay $55 a night to stay in that.
When I first heard about the tiny house movement, I was super inspired, but when I looked further, I couldn't believe how big these tiny houses were. So I made an actual tiny house. I'm not about space, I'm about time. I have lots of time now. Now that I live wherever I need to go. Wherever I need to be, I'm already there. That's what the website
this
says.
is mostly a time saver for him?
This is mostly a publicity stunt that he doesn't actually live in, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure because you can rent it.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Well, I know about this now.
Okay, let's talk about head width. I don't know how heavy they are. They're really light. They're ants. But the width of their head is about 2.5 millimeters.
Okay.
So how many ant heads would go into the length of the amount of heads of lettuce an indoor Japanese farm produces every day if the lettuce was put in a single file line?
What Japanese farmhouse? I really need to know this.
Here's a hint. The farm is called It's called Miyarako, and it's owned by Shigeharu Shimamura. I should have listened to what she says.
You nailed it. You got it.
Shimamura. Shigeharu Shimamura. I'm sorry for butchering your name, sir. The indoor farm uses less water than outdoor farms because water isn't lost to the ground. The lettuce is planted in vertically stacked racks to save space.
It's kind of like when you go to Epcot and they have that
the land,
indoor,
living with the land.
Yeah, that one.
I love that ride. It smells good. It's nice and calm.
It's air conditioned.
Well, it's until you get out into the greenhouse.
Even then, it's still like the temperature is regulated.
There's a fun animatronic dog that's supposed to look like Walt's dog.
Yep. And then the biggest eggplant you've ever seen. Okay, I don't know. In a day, I'll say 1,000.
What day? Is it Harvest Day? Is that the day we're talking about? Or is it...
Every other day is 0, and then Harvest Day is like...
6 million.
Head of lettuce is about 6, maybe 7 inches. I have no idea what that translates.
The upper end of average for lettuce is 12. So I don't know how much 12 inches. So I don't know what
maybe I just have tiny lettuce in my house.
I don't know what it's between 2 inches and 12 inches. And I don't know what Miyarako produces, but I went by 12.
And how many millimeters for the ant's head?
2.5 millimeters.
Millimeters. All right, my answer is 121,000.
121,000 ant heads?
Yes. Because
final answer.
I think that there's 1,000 heads of lettuce, and you just said they were a foot wide each, and so I just turned that into what I believe to be meters and multiplied it by 1,000, and then divided it by 2.5. You didn't need to hear my math. 121,000.
Okay, 121,000. You are 10 times off.
Oh.
The correct answer is 1,219,200 ant heads. The farm produces about 10,000 ant heads per day.
Yeah, 10,000 cabbage or
no
lettuce heads.
Ant heads. No, you're right. Lettuce heads.
If Industrial Light and Magic were working on a brand new live action ants movie, then yes, I could believe that they were creating 1,000 ant heads a day.
10,000 ant heads is like a handful of protein packed snack.
Yeah, that doesn't even whet the appetite for Bear Grylls.
All right. That's all I got for that. Would you like to hear some fast facts before we get into the big old fact?
Yes, big old fact.
Okay, unicolors live in Australia's wet tropical climates and prefer wooded areas with plenty of logs and leaf litter to nest in. Honeypot ants are actually a class of ants, like workers, queens, and males. Only a few species have honeypot roles, including our friend the unicolor. They forage in groups of 2 or 3, and they can be found wandering the surface away from their nests both night and day. When they're disturbed, they extend their legs and raise their abdomen and run away. And this makes them look even more like spiders. Spindly little legs skittering away. Colonies have a few hundred workers and a single queen. And the queen is wingless and looks pretty much just like the workers, except she's slightly larger. Like other ants, scouts will find large food sources and return to the nest to recruit reinforcements to collect the bounty. And that's all I got. Was there anything else fast fact?
Oh, no, I don't have any more fast facts, but I do have
a big old
the big old fact. Major fact, reporting for duty. was trying to find a Major Payne reference to throw in there, but I'm in the ant business, and business is good.
Ugh.
Do you not like that movie?
I've never seen that movie.
Really? Oh, it's very funny. You should watch it. Anyway, so yeah, the major fact, which I'm naming like a Fall Out Boy song. So it's called "Living Larders," parentheses, Fat Bottom Girls, They Make the Rockin' World Go Round. If you've ever listened to an old Fall Out Boy song or tried to look it up, you get what I'm getting at.
Fall Out Boy?
Yeah.
Fat Bottom Girls is not a Fall Out Boy song.
No, but they name their songs like something like something short, and then they put a whole sentence in parentheses. No, I know Fat Bottom Girls is not a Fall Out Boy song.
One of their songs is like, "To of all the gin joints in the world, like you walk into my," or like that line from Casablanca.
Yeah, or a disloyal order of water buffaloes. So disloyal. All right, yeah. So some insects, particularly bees, are well known for their penchant for collecting and storing food, but that requires a location to store your food. This is called a larder, which is technically a place where meat is covered in lard for preservation by humans, but you can use it to describe anywhere food is stored for later.
Where Bilbo kept all his food that the dwarves consumed.
Yeah, those are the things that Bilbo Baggins hates. Also, he's got bottles in the old vineyard. What's a vineyard?
A wine vineyard.
Maybe I'm.
That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe vineyard is a thing. I just haven't really thought about it. But I was like, wine cellar, right? It's not a vineyard. Anyway, so if you want to take your larder / fridge on the road, the Honeypot ant has you covered with its patent-pending food backpack. But unfortunately, despite what Pixar wants you to believe, ants can't use tools, and they can't make backpacks or use the backpacks even if they were able to make them. So instead, they have special sterile members of their colony called, here we go, gates. Like rural juror gates. And these guys are designated for food storage. So basically, since they don't have the necessary tools to make or wear backpacks, the gates are basically just a patsy for when the food runs out. Like, we had a team dedicated to food, and they dropped the ball. But these particular ants aren't going to take this kind of railroading lying down. No, sir. They've been given a job to do, and by George, they'll do it. Even if it's an unwinnable job. Like, I imagine this scenario where at one point, the worker ants unionize and, like, march on the queen. And they're like, we need a work environment more conducive to doing our job of storing food. And the queen's like, food storage is your job, and if we all starve, you're getting 86th. And then they're like, well, you can just shove it then. And then she says, no, you can shove it. And they're like, And that's right. That's how we got to where we are. Because if these ants can't store food in backpacks or honeycombs, they will just shove it right into their bums.
She's so wise. The ant queen.
She has all the answers.
She has all the answer.
We already made that joke. So yeah, these gates have abdomens that are plated. In these, they have plates, and the plates are called sclerites, which is basically what all ants are covered in. This chitinous hard material that makes up their exoskeleton. But these particular plates are connected with a much more flexible tissue that can expand. So these gates will store so much food in their abdomens that they will become engorged, like a tick that couldn't eat another bite. And so their abdomens will eventually swell up to the size of a grape. So they go from this 6mm little dude to a full-on grape size. and then they won't be able to move anymore because they'll be too big. So what they'll do is they'll actually attach themselves to the roof of the tunnels near the base of the nest. So they keep their food far from the surface. And you'll have whole sections of the colony dedicated to a bunch of these player gates just stuck to the ceiling with their grape-sized tushes. And then from then on, they will serve as a kind of hamster bottle. Like, you know how a hamster hangs out in its cage and then just goes up to this big thing of liquid and gets its sustenance? Well, so when the other worker ants are feeling peckish, the other ants will come up and tickle the player gates until they vomit up a delicious snack. And the other workers will often tickle out some extra snacks to share with everyone in accounting, even Debbie from accounts receivable. And the food itself is mostly nectar collected by worker ants, as well as meat from insects and small lizards. So when you see if you've seen ants, you've seen them swarm something like a worm or a lizard or a grasshopper or something. They take that meat and they bring it into their hive. But for the most part, they eat not hive. We specifically said it's not hive. Their colony. But they mostly get nectar from plants, and that forms the liquid that goes into these ant abdomens. So yeah, and it's a big golden grape with a little ant stuck to the end. It's what it looks like, and it's kind of nasty, but it's just where the whole colony stores their food, and they go down and tickle it out of them.
You can see David Attenborough tickling it out of him once, and by
really?
that I mean eating the whole thing.
I imagine it's not that bad. I mean, it's just a bunch of nectar.
Yeah, he says it's very sweet, and he described it as warm.
I still wouldn't. I mean,
I would eat the whole thing, but he had it. He bit it with his front teeth and had it pop.
I mean, it's gonna pop anyway unless you swallow it like a pill.
But it ran down his chin, and it was just the worst thing.
He denathored that.
Yeah, he denathored he like a poor cherry tomato.
Oh, can you imagine just replacing the Denethor eating cherry tomatoes scene with just eating honeypot ants?
Yeah, it wouldn't be any worse. It's terrible.
You literally can't make that scene any worse. And it's juxtaposed with the best song in all of Lord of the Rings. But yeah, that's the honeypot ant. That's all I got.
That's all I got.
All right, so for you out there in Podcastia, stay underground, toe the company line, and remember that the ants pick the food, the ants vomit up the food, and the grasshoppers leave in disgust here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, thanks for listening to the episode. Just a few quick things. As always, reviews and social media engagement are greatly appreciated, but recommending the podcast to friends is the best way to help us grow. If you'd like some LDT flavored merch, check out teespring.com/stores/taxonomyteas. That's it. Thanks for listening all the way to the end.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Just the ant queen telling her unionized workers that they can shove it, and then they get the idea to actually put the food in their butts.
I was just thinking about the politics of a ant colony at that point. That was they're probably pretty communist. They're all for the nest.
Yeah, you can't really see an entire department really rebelling,
unless the entire hive rebels and they kill the queen and eat her, and make a new one.
Yeah, that would be just an HR nightmare.